Stellar Blade PS5 developer ShiftUp has reportedly formalized an agreement with Sony Interactive Entertainment to become its first Korean second-party studio. Sony had previously signed an agreement to publish Stellar Blade exclusively on the PS5. The game was originally announced as a multi-platform title called Project Eve, then Sony funded the game and made it exclusively on PS5. The report of the second-party development contract comes from Korean news site gamechosen.co.kr. According to a translation of the article, the agreement between ShiftUp and Sony was signed on November 24. The article claims that alongside handing over Stellar Blade's publishing rights to Sony, the studio has joined SIE's second-party partner program. However, there's no mention of any other projects beyond Stellar Blade. Officially, the game's due out this year, but as we close on 2024, it's looking borderline impossible it'll meet that target. The article claims that more information about the title, including an updated release schedule, will be announced in the near future. PlayStation has, in the past, signed multi-game publishing deals with independent studios like Quantic Dream, so it's possible it may have something similar in mind here. Either way, it's interesting to see the platform holder look outside of the typical countries for new partners. It's also signing plenty of exclusivity deals with the China Hero Project, the India Hero Project and partnerships in Korea. Sony has announced a new partnership with the video game developer and publisher NCSoft. The South Korean company is best known for massively multiplayer online role-playing games, such as Lineage, Ion, and Guild Wars, and offers the potential for Sony to expand into the mobile gaming market. Confirmed in a joint statement by outgoing Sony Interactive Entertainment boss Jim Ryan and NCSoft CEO Tae-Jin Kim, the two companies have signed a strategic global business partnership that will focus on collaboration across multiple fields, including mobile. Both Ryan and Kim issued follow-up comments that heavily emphasized Sony's aim to expand beyond consoles and reach audiences across genres, regions, and platforms. Though there were no details provided as to the specific projects that the two companies will be working on, it is clear that Sony and NCSoft are looking to build both brands in unison. For fans of PlayStation, the partnership offers the potential for more game announcements in the future. Currently, the two companies are evaluating their business opportunities. Partnering with NCSoft advances our strategy to expand beyond console and broaden PlayStation's reach to a wider audience, said SIE President and CEO Jim Ryan. Like SIE, NCSoft shares a similar vision in creating high-quality, impactful entertainment experiences for players everywhere, and together, we're excited to collaborate to push the boundaries of gaming further. There was a leak last year that Sony and NCSoft is working on a Horizon MMO. This partnership official announcement further confirms the existence of the MMO. So, we should be getting updates of Horizon and more Korean partnerships from PlayStation in the near future. The dust has barely settled on this year's launch, and yet, Activision's 2024 Call of Duty game has already leaked online. After 2 straight years of releases within the Modern Warfare series, Call of Duty is reportedly returning to Black Ops. Despite some up-and-down reception to the latest release, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 has broken player engagement records for the trilogy and sold relatively well. Fans were initially disappointed by the game's brief campaign, but the reception to Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer modes and zombies has been much better in comparison. Still, after 3 Modern Warfare releases in the past 4 years, COD fans are eager to see what's next. Windows Central is reporting that Call of Duty 2024 will be Black Ops, as rumored, and the game will be set during the Gulf War. Longtime Call of Duty developer Treyarch is said to be leading the way for Black Ops 6, which is rumored to be called Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War. While Treyarch has assisted on each Call of Duty title over the years, its 2024 entry will represent the studio's longest development period for a COD game. For players disappointed by Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3's campaign, Treyarch's 2024 entry, at least, sounds to be a step in the right direction thanks to a longer development time and early focus on narrative. According to Windows Central sources, Black Ops 6 looks to tell a nuanced story that explores multiple angles surrounding the Gulf War. Additionally, the game will dip back into traditional military combat technology and familiar Black Ops gadgetry, rather than futuristic tech from recent Modern Warfare titles. On a bit more of the speculative side, Windows Central is also hearing about the potential return of early access as a pre-order bonus. One of Modern Warfare 3's pre-order bonuses included early access to the game's campaign, which launched a week early. However, Black Ops 6 could potentially offer several weeks of early access for select modes. According to multiple sources familiar with Activision's plans, Call of Duty 2024 will sport the Black Ops moniker and once again follow some of the West's more shadowy military dealings in global conflict scenarios. Black Ops 6 will take place during the Gulf War, which was the first major conflict between Saddam Hussein's Iraq and a coalition of US-led militaries. US President George Bush Sr. and UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher deployed troops alongside Egypt and Saudi Arabia into Iraq after the Hussein regime invaded Kuwait, in what formed the largest coalition of militaries since World War II. It also charted a new era of heavily televised conflicts, with Operation Desert Storm becoming notorious for its live media coverage. The war also featured some of America's largest ever tank battles, in an era before drone warfare with a focus on the CIA. Unlike Modern Warfare 3's rushed development cycle, which reportedly lasted only 18 months, Treyarch has supposedly been working on Call of Duty 2024 for nearly 4 years. While this increased development time does give some guarantee that the campaign will be good, it should result in a title that feels more fully formed than Modern Warfare 3. And, given Treyarch's reputation as one of the franchise's most reliable developers, Call of Duty 2024 could represent a much-needed return to form for the series. By avoiding Modern Warfare 3's missteps, Treyarch can ensure that Call of Duty 2024 represents a long-overdue return to form for the franchise. Aside from the return to the Black Ops series, 2024's Call of Duty will be noteworthy for another reason. Black Ops 6 will be the first Call of Duty title released following Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. While Modern Warfare 3 technically launched after the acquisition, the game's development and marketing were long underway before the deal was finalized. Assuming there aren't any standing timed exclusivity agreements for Activision to uphold moving forward, Black Ops 6 will likely lay the groundwork for how Microsoft will handle its new massive IP. The remake of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time has hit an important internal milestone, Ubisoft has revealed. Its encouraging announcement stands in stark contrast to the disappointing update on the Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake that the company shared back in May, suggesting that the project was still in pre-production. First revealed in 2020, the remake of the iconic Prince of Persia reboot was initially met with backlash from the fandom due to its underwhelming visuals. The criticism gained so much traction that the project was hit with an indefinite delay while Ubisoft reassessed its merits. The Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake ended up swapping developers 2 years later, having been reassigned from Ubisoft's India-based studios in Pune and Mumbai to Ubisoft Montreal. While not much has been revealed about the remake ever since, Ubisoft just confirmed that the game has reached a major internal milestone. Taking to X, formerly Twitter, the official Prince of Persia account said that the development on the remake hence continues to progress. The update itself was shared on the 20th anniversary of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. As for what this internal milestone might be referring to, it is possible that the Sands of Time remake has finally started active production. Seeing how its producer, Jean-François Naud, revealed that the project was still in conception back in May, no other important milestones appear to be feasible for the studio to reach just 6 months later. The wording of the 2022 Developer Switch announcement initially suggested that Ubisoft Montreal wouldn't return to the drawing board, but attempt to build on what its companies in Pune and Mumbai had already achieved by that point. However, Naud's subsequent update clearly indicated that the development eventually had to be restarted from scratch. Assuming the game is now in active production, the next major milestone would be to have it playable from start to finish. From there, the developers would simultaneously turn to refining the experience and working on replacing placeholder assets with finished products. For reference, asset creation has historically been one of the biggest creatives in game development. And given the initial fan complaints about the Sands of Time remake's graphics, it's unlikely that Ubisoft Montreal decided to reuse much of the project's original assets. Beyond that, testing and bug fixing also tend to be massive time sinks in AAA game development. The remake is hence still likely years away from hitting the market. Hopefully this remake of a legendary and one of my favorite games of all time land well, and we get some Prince of Persia revival in the future. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2's release date has been postponed to the second half of 2024. Fans eagerly anticipating the sequel to the unique Warhammer 40k Space Marine will need to exercise patience, as the developers require additional time. Space Marine 2 was initially unveiled during the Game Awards in 2021, eliciting excitement from fans of the Warhammer 40k series. This sequel to the 2011 hack-and-slash title takes players into its characteristic grimdark universe, where they control Titus, a lieutenant of the Ultramarines chapter. Players are going to engage with enemies through a blend of melee and ranged combat, as demonstrated in a 10-minute extended gameplay trailer presented during the Focus Entertainment showcase on August 30th. Unfortunately, fans will have to wait a bit longer than expected to experience it. In a recent update from Focus Entertainment, the publisher behind Space Marine 2 announced that it is set to unveil the official launch date for the game in early December. Nevertheless, the game's release has been pushed back to the second half of 2024. The decision to delay stems from the studio's dedication to refining the game, promising players a polished and exceptional gaming experience. Focus Entertainment is committed to releasing a game that is of the highest quality and that exceeds the expectations of the countless fans of the franchise. Focus's statement reads, "Despite the delay, Space Marine 2 has generated significant anticipation, accumulating over 1 million wishlists, according to the publisher. The development team recognizes the enthusiasm surrounding the game and is striving to make the wait worthwhile by providing a product that lives up to the legacy of the Warhammer 40k franchise. This new installment is set centuries after the events of the previous game in Graia. Players will have to engage in combat with Warhammer 40k's insectoid tyranids, a race that seems to have taken the main role as the antagonist in Space Marine 2. According to its developers, the game is intended to surpass not only its genre counterparts but also its predecessor in terms of size. While the delay may disappoint fans eagerly anticipating the release, it underscores Focus Entertainment's dedication to delivering a polished and refined gaming experience. The decision reflects its commitment to prioritizing quality over a hasty launch, aiming to uphold the value of the Warhammer 40k franchise. As the gaming community patiently awaits the opportunity to once again take control of one of the most iconic Space Marines, Captain Titus, it's important to keep an eye out for future updates on the Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 release date. Speaking of delays, Bungie has officially delayed Destiny 2's The Final Shape expansion from February 27, 2024 to June 4, 2024. The Final Shape is poised to wrap up the current Destiny 2 storyline that started nearly a decade ago. It's meant to usher in a new era for Destiny 2, dumping the seasonal model that the game has used for years in favor of an episodic approach that will change how the universe handles its storytelling. It goes without saying that the Final Shape is going to be massive for Destiny 2, and so it's no surprise that many fans of Bungie's Destiny are excited to play it for themselves. Initially, fans were expecting to jump into the Final Shape in February 2024. Continuing the February release pattern for expansions that started when the Witch Queen was delayed from late 2021 to early 2022, but now we know that will no longer be the case. Bungie stated that the delay will allow the team to deliver an even bigger and bolder vision. It also addressed how this is going to impact the game's ongoing content plans, as it suddenly finds itself with a 4-month gap to fill. Basically, fans can expect an extra-long Season of the Wish. The original plan was for Destiny 2's Season of the Wish to wrap up when the Final Shape launched in February, but now it's been extended to the expansion's launch date in June. Bungie has said that the majority of the content and narrative for Season of the Wish will still end in February, but new content is planned to help fill in the time between then and the Final Shape's June 2024 launch. According to Bungie, this extra content will include new weekly quests called Wishes and Moments of Triumph with unique rewards. Come March, Bungie is bringing back the Guardian games early to help keep the player base engaged, while April will kick off 2 months of content called Destiny 2 Into the Light, which will prepare players for their Guardian's journey into the Traveler, though otherwise details are scarce on what exactly that will entail. April will also see Bungie give a big update on the Final Shape, revealing new gameplay for the expansion and more. Destiny 2 PvP players, meanwhile, will be happy to learn that 3 new PvP maps are coming to the game in May. According to today's video from Bungie's own Joe Blackburn, game director of Destiny 2, April 2024 will see a gameplay reveal of the Final Shape. Although it's unclear whether this reveal will happen in the span of a single trailer or multiple videos and possibly even TWID posts, it's implied that no gameplay footage will be shown of the upcoming expansion prior to April. In-game content will keep players busy in the meantime, and with the Final Shape's new release date of June 4th, there are plenty of opportunities for Bungie to make April a big month for the game. Destiny 2's Light and Darkness saga deserves an expansion that fully delivers on day one, rather than a slow-burner storyline that needs months of building momentum to finally conclude. And while the overarching plot is a key element of Destiny 2 and one of the reasons why Lightfall bombed the way it did, players also want a satisfying sandbox to play in. Meaning the Final Shape has to provide the best of experiences when it comes to its gameplay loop. However, it's safe to say that many Guardians will be making their return to the game to see how the story concludes with the Final Shape when it finally launches on June 4, 2024. Warner Bros. Is currently planning to transform its most popular franchises into live services, according to information revealed during the company's latest quarterly earnings call. With recent releases such as Mortal Kombat 1 achieving critical success and selling very well, it seems that WB wants to use this popularity to support its games for even longer. This live service disease is spreading everywhere. 2023 has been an excellent year for Warner Bros.' gaming division so far. Released back in February, Hogwarts Legacy, a single-player quality game, became one of the best-selling games of the year, still outselling new games months after its original launch. The recent Mortal Kombat 1 managed to sell almost 3 million units so far, another pretty good mark considering the game has been only out for 2 months yet. Now, WB is looking for ways to expand its profitability with famous franchises even more, or going to sink them into the depths of mediocrity. WB Discovery President David Zaslav talked about the gaming division during the recent Warner Bros. Quarterly earnings call. Zaslav explained that the current goal of the company is to focus more on live services, multi-platform, and F2P games. This would mean supporting games for longer than now, for around 3 to 4 years. This, the Warner Bros. Executive explains, would drive more engagement from the audience and be able to generate greater post-purchase revenue, Zaslav said. Our focus is on transforming our biggest franchises from largely console and PC-based with 3-4-year release schedules to include more always-on gameplay through live services, multi-platform, and free-to-play extensions with the goal to have more players spending more time on more platforms. Essentially every big gaming company wants to have a live service now. The number of possible live service games is limited by demand, and while some games achieve great success, others fail to find audiences that will keep playing. Titles such as Mario Kart Mobile, Knockout City, Apex Legends Mobile and Battlefield Mobile have already shut down in 2023, and Halo Infinite and Forza are really struggling, for example. So, it remains to be seen how Warner Bros. Will handle this. Warner Bros. Discovery's newest earnings report revealed that its Q3 revenue increased by 2% year-on-year to $10 billion. But the firm also intends to expand its games to live and free-to-play offerings. Additionally, Warner Bros.' third-quarter report said, games revenue increased meaningfully due to the Q3 release of Mortal Kombat 1 and continued performance of Hogwarts Legacy. Regarding Hogwarts Legacy's sales performance, back in May the title has already sold 15 million units globally and earned $1 billion in revenue. During the call, Zaslav also said that games are a critical and valuable asset to the company. WB Games has become a behemoth over the years thanks to its many iconic titles. The publisher has been responsible for hits like the Batman Arkham series, Traveler's Tales, incredibly popular LEGO video games, the Middle-earth franchise, the extremely popular fighting series Mortal Kombat, and even the acclaimed Hogwarts Legacy. All of that has really helped it build a pretty successful catalog over the years that will likely only grow as the studios expand these franchises even further. The Batman Arkham series specifically seems to have built the framework for almost every modern superhero game later to follow. Players fell in love with the story that Rocksteady and WB Games Montreal told, the thrilling gameplay kept them coming back for more, and each new adventure took the concept to new heights. Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are often considered some of the best superhero games ever created, but for some reason, the studio has chosen to take a very different route going forward. Instead of further building out the single-player adventures of the Batman Arkham series, Rocksteady is expanding the series with the live service Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. While the game has not been released yet, so far, the fanbase does not seem that interested in it. The game looks to be DC's version of Marvel's Avengers, which ended up failing to make an impact. Plus, the gameplay has looked lackluster and goofy, everyone jumping everywhere when compared to the acclaimed Arkham installments that came before it. It already seems like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is in a bit of a tough spot, yet Warner Bros. Wants WB Games to focus on these types of experiences even more. If the studio cannot get players interested in a live service game set within Rocksteady's Arkhamverse, then it may be even harder to convince them to jump onto other live service games, particularly new IPs. Even though nothing has been officially revealed just yet, that direction feels like an extremely risky one, especially as players start turning their backs on the entire concept. Along with that, having way too many live service games means that they must start competing with each other. Players only have so many hours in the day to devote to an online game, so if that online game is not exciting enough, then it will just get lost in the crowd. Countless live service games have already died off in 2023, yet countless more are preparing to rise in their place. Despite a job listing hinting at the contrary, it seems that the upcoming Wonder Woman video game from Monolith Productions will not be a live service game after all. Wonder Woman was first announced at the Game Awards 2021, and there hasn't been much in the way of substantial updates on the project since then. Monolith hasn't put out a game since 2017's Middle-earth Shadow of War, and so many fans are understandably anxious to see more of its Wonder Woman project. While the Wonder Woman game has been mostly kept under wraps since its initial announcement, a recent job listing led many fans to believe that it would be a live service game. The Wonder Woman job listing said that Monolith was looking for someone with experience in live service games to work on the project, leading to the speculation. Live service games can be incredibly divisive, and so many fans were worried when this job listing came to light. To help ease concerns, Warner Bros. Issued a statement to IGN where it clarified that Wonder Woman is a single-player open-world game and not a live service title. Wonder Woman is not being designed as a live service, the statement read. Now, this doesn't mean that Wonder Woman will be devoid of microtransactions, but at least fans don't have to worry about it being a live service game and being burdened with everything that comes along with that label. Beyond the fact that it is a single-player open-world game and not a live service, pretty much the only other detail fans know for sure about the Wonder Woman game is that it will feature the Nemesis system. Monolith innovated the Nemesis system with Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, making it possible for all enemies in the game to remember the player's actions, responding accordingly and establishing a relationship between the player and even the lowest-level enemies in the game. It will definitely be interesting to see how this system works in Wonder Woman, so hopefully more information on the project is revealed sooner rather than later. A wealth of new information about the upcoming Wonder Woman game has just been leaked from a credible source, offering some interesting insights about its gameplay and technical specifications. Supposed concept art for the forthcoming Wonder Woman game was recently leaked earlier this year, providing a potential glimpse at a futuristic setting in famous DC Comics characters like Nubia. Fans have since speculated that Monolith could soon release more information about Wonder Woman, possibly at this year's Game Awards livestream. Since Wonder Woman was first revealed at the Game Awards in 2021, perhaps it will be featured again at this year's event. The Game Awards 2023 will no doubt feature plenty of big game reveals and announcements, and since Wonder Woman has been basically MIA for the last 2 years, it seems like this year's event would be the perfect time to reintroduce the game to the masses. Fans shouldn't hold their breath, though, especially since WB will likely want to keep the attention on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League for now. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth revealed the size of its Hawaiian open world, stating that it is 3 times bigger than the map from Yakuza Like a Dragon. Like past Like a Dragon games, Infinite Wealth features an open-world city to explore, with this entry primarily taking place in the western state of Hawaii. Specifically, the game takes place in Honolulu City, the capital of Hawaii, which makes it the perfect place for Ichiban's misadventures. Previous Like a Dragon games allowed players to explore multiple open-world locations, though gamers have become well acquainted with the city of Kamurocho. Yakuza Like a Dragon introduced the city district of Isazaki Ijincho, which was located in the city of Yokohama. While players would get the chance to explore both Kamurocho and Sotenbori in Yakuza Like a Dragon, Ijincho would serve as the primary map that the game took place in. This city would also serve as the main setting of the Lost Judgment spin-off. Despite Ijincho already being a big city that gamers can explore, the city of Honolulu is promised to be triple its size. This detail was revealed on Ryu Ga Gotoku Studios' official Twitter account, with a rough translation of the tweet stating that Honolulu City is said to be more than 3 times the size of Isazaki Ijincho. Some of the areas in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth include Aloha Beach, the Anaconda Shopping Center, Waikiki Town, Chinatown, Little Japan, and District 5. Each of these areas in Honolulu can provide a variety of activities for players to try out, such as swimming at Aloha Beach and shopping in Waikiki Town. The Anaconda Shopping Center is described as being an area that includes entertainment, such as arcade games. This is likely the location where players can play some of Infinite Wealth's multiple mini-games. Not all the areas are friendly, however, as District 5 is described as being illegally occupied and is home to Hawaii's local mafia. Infinite Wealth is touting itself as the longest Like a Dragon game in the series, exceeding over 60 hours of gameplay. The large open world of Honolulu may be a contributing factor, as Like a Dragon games contain tons of story and side content to discover. The Dondoko Island side activity also allows players to create their own island, similar to games like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley. Needless to say, fans will have a lot to do in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. The voice actor for Venom in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 has confirmed that just 10% of his dialogue recorded for the character made it into the full release. Venom is one of the most iconic villains of all time, and his return in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 was one of the most anticipated parts of the new release. However, it seems a lot of content was left on the floor. The Insomniac Games Spider-Man titles have been a huge success for Marvel. Although it seems Insomniac Games will now focus on its Wolverine title, there's no doubt that a future Marvel Spider-Man release could continue to explore Venom further. This news was posted to Twitter by Evan Filarka, who attended a panel featuring Venom actor Tony Todd at Fan Expo San Francisco 2023. There, Todd confirmed that Insomniac used just 10% of the total dialogue recorded for Venom, including scrapped scenes involving Miles taking on the symbiote. It's impossible to know the full context of these lines, so it's possible that a lot of them were generic gameplay lines intended for the playable Venom sections. Still, it's equally plausible that Venom was set for a bigger role in the game, cut down due to the insane rogues gallery of Marvel's Spider-Man 2. The news of Venom's leftover dialogue will surely spark speculation about how the character will be used going forward. One of the current leading theories explores what a Spider-Man half-sequel based on Venom could look like, in the same way that Miles Morales got his own standalone release to explore that character further. However, nothing is confirmed right now, and Venom's fate in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 definitely makes it wishful thinking more than anything solid. In the ending of Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Venom is killed after Peter frees Harry Osborn from his grip. It seems extremely early for Insomniac Games to be totally done with the character, especially considering how popular he remains among fans of the franchise. However, if Insomniac Games plays by the rules of comic books, then no one is ever truly dead for good. The lines may eventually find some use. Harry Kruger, who worked as the game director of Returnal, has confirmed his departure from Housemarque after working there for over 14 years. Kruger was a prominent figure in the company before leaving, as he was a key member of the studio's biggest project so far, the third-person shooter Returnal. Housemarque is a Finnish game developer owned by PlayStation Studios since 2021. The company got its start back in 1995 and is the oldest studio in the country. Kruger has been working there since 2009. He started as a gameplay programmer and became a game director in 2014, a position he held until now. During this time, the company launched games like Dead Nation, Outland, Resogun, Alienation, Nex Machina, Matterfall, and Returnal. Now, Housemarque revealed that Harry Kruger will leave his position as game director at the Finnish studio. When talking about his retirement from the company, Kruger stated that it was a very difficult decision to make, and said that, during my 14 years at Housemarque, I've been incredibly fortunate to work on one dream project after another, and had the privilege of working alongside some truly talented and wonderful people along the way. Kruger also reflected on his work in the studio, talking about how Housemarque shifted from a small indie studio that launched titles like Resogun and Nex Machina to the big Returnal, a project that won the hearts of gamers and was the first AAA experience he worked on. Ilari Kuidinen, the general manager and co-founder of Housemarque, also talked about Kruger's work. He praised the employees' leadership and dedication and credited the game director for sculpting the company's success, especially during the development of the successful Returnal. which is the company's biggest hit. At the moment, it's not clear if Kruger will continue to work in the game industry, or, if he does, to which studio he will go. As Harry Kruger leaves Housemarque, the PlayStation-owned studio continues the development of its yet unnamed upcoming game. Ilari Quidinen also added that the studio is gearing up for its next title. Instead of working on a sequel to Returnal, Housemarque will create a new IP for its next game. At the moment, however, not much information is known about the title. The game will employ unused ideas and narrative systems that did not appear in Returnal, according to the developers, but essentially nothing is known about its setting. While Kruger will no longer be a part of the company soon, he may have done some work on the upcoming game, which would make it the last one influenced by his decisions in Housemarque. This is really a big loss for PlayStation, considering his influence in Housemarque. Video game director, writer, and designer Bonnie Jean-Ma has joined Santa Monica Studio as a narrative director. The news comes from an official post where she posted a selfie of herself alongside a statue of Kratos from God of War. Santa Monica Studio is best known for previously developing the mainline titles in the God of War series. Over the past couple of years, the studio has acquired new talent to hone in on future projects, though Santa Monica hasn't officially announced any upcoming titles. There have been teases and job listings, notably one that pertains to an unannounced third-person action game much like God of War. A recent announcement may hint at a new sci-fi game from Santa Monica Studio, helmed by Cory Barlog. Through an official announcement, Bonnie Jean-Ma shared her new job position as a narrative director at Santa Monica Studio. She went on to share a selfie of herself and a statue of Kratos, captioned with the news of her joining the team and studio with enthusiasm. The post can be found on Twitter and LinkedIn. To see what could be in store for Santa Monica Studio's future projects, it's important to look back on some of the work that Bonnie Jean-Ma has accomplished. Starting as an owner of Stormchaser Productions, Ma went on to serve as a narrative designer for Relic Entertainment THQ Canada from November 2008 to June 2012. There, she worked on a couple of games from the Warhammer franchise, such as Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine and the cancelled Warhammer 40,000 Dark Millennium Online. She was also a writer for both games. Years later, she would move on to Black Tusk Studios, now known as the Coalition, to work on the Gears of War series as a franchise narrative manager, narrative designer, and narrative producer. She would eventually go back to conduct work for the Age of Empire 4 title at Relic Entertainment as a senior designer and narrative lead before becoming the franchise narrative director at the Coalition in 2020. Thus, she would sign on to be the narrative director at Timmy Studio Group, a subsidiary of Tencent Games. It was at this company that she worked on an original IP open-world RPG, though no details have been disclosed. She ended her tenure in November 2023 to become Santa Monica Studios' newest narrative director. Bonnie Jean-Ma's newest position could suggest that a sci-fi project may indeed be in the works at Santa Monica Studio. Having previously worked with third-person shooters, coupled with the unannounced God of War-like action, it's possible that Santa Monica Studio could be diving into futuristic territory. Writer Alana Pierce did confirm that the studio was working on a sci-fi game, though players will have to wait until an official announcement is made. Two Rockstar veterans have joined Dan Houser at his new studio Absurd Ventures. As spotted by B-Geek, via Eurogamer, the Grand Theft Auto Studio's former vice president of writing Michael Unsworth joined the team last month, ending more than 16 years at Rockstar. Unsworth co-wrote both Red Dead Redemption games, and contributed to GTA 4, 5, and L.A. Noire. According to his LinkedIn profile, he has taken on the role of head of story and creative management. Meanwhile, Laszlo Jones, previously writer, director, and producer at Rockstar, and known to GTA fans as an in-game radio DJ, also joined the team back in June, after almost 20 years at the Grand Theft Auto studio. He has taken on the role of executive producer, and also lists himself as a founding member of the new company. Absurd Ventures was officially announced in June 2023, 3 years after Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser left the company. Embracer Group is reportedly considering shutting down Free Radical Design by the end of 2023. The British company was most recently working on Time Splitters 4, which started development circa mid-2021. Founded in 1999, Free Radical Design went on to develop the Time Splitters trilogy, and Codemasters published stealth adventure Second Sight over the first 6 years of its existence. After putting out the poorly received PS3 FPS Haze in 2008, the studio declared bankruptcy, only for its remnants to be acquired by Crytek in early 2009. Rebranded as Crytek UK, the company spent the next half a decade working on the Crysis franchise and free-to-play FPS Warface. Most of its staff transferred to Deep Silver subsidiary Dambuster Studios after the former acquired the rights to first-person shooter Homefront in 2014. Deep Silver parent Embracer reopened Free Radical Design in mid-2021 with the intent of reviving the Timesplitters franchise, revealing that much of the original team returned for the project. But the gaming giant is now said to be planning to cancel the game and close the studio. That's according to a newly emerged internal email from Embracer CEO Lars Wingefors that was leaked by VGC. In it, the executive acknowledged that Embracer is currently in the process of concluding a consultation process that will result in the potential closure of Free Radical Design on December 11, 2023. Although the wording of the leaked email suggests the decision to close the studio hasn't yet been set in stone, that's not necessarily the case. Not least because British labour laws mandate a minimum 30-day consultation period before between 20 and 99 employees are simultaneously made redundant. It is thus possible that the ongoing consultation process is merely a formality geared toward relocating some of Free Radical Design's 50-plus staffers, whereas the fate of the studio itself has already been sealed. Should any of the company's employees end up losing their jobs come December, they'll join the list of over 900 people whom Embracer has laid off since June. As we move through the consultation process and face the potential closure of Free Radical Design on December 11, 2023, I want to express my gratitude for your commitment and the remarkable work you've done and still keep doing, said Embracer CEO. Free Radical Design is far from the only studio that found itself on the chopping block as part of Embracer's ongoing restructuring. Back in August, the Swedish company shut down Campfire Cabal, a Danish developer that only opened its doors 11 months earlier, and Saints Row Dev Volition. Playin, a subsidiary of Embracer Group, has announced that Fish Labs Studio will see around 50 job cuts. The announcement said that attempts were made to avoid layoffs. However, the financial backing of the studio's Project Black and lack of approval could not curtail the decision. Fish Labs will continue to co-create projects in partnership with Embracer subsidiaries and Playin. Each individual at our Fish Labs studio has been more than just a team member. They've been a vital part of our creative journey, bringing not only their skills but also passion and dedication to every project, said Playin Vice President of Worldwide Studios and Talent Lars Jansson. The downsizing decision that took place at Fish Labs is a part of Embracer's ongoing restructuring plan announced back in July. Embracer Group has been a shit show for the past 2 years, consolidating as much as they can and shutting studios down and cancelling games left and right. Wingefors previously cited the worsening global economy as the main reason for Embracer's massive cost-cutting efforts. In practice, the restructuring commenced after the company's $2 billion investment deal with an unknown partner rumored to be Saudi Arabia's public investment fund fell through. Although the cutbacks were initially planned to conclude by October, the fact that Free Radical Design is now reportedly on the verge of shutting down suggests they continue to this date. Unity has announced yet another round of layoffs, this time centered around the staff it brought in when it acquired elements of Weta, the VFX studio behind The Lord of the Rings. Reuters reported that the company will dismiss 265 employees, 3.8% of its workforce, as part of the termination of its agreement with Weta, which is owned by movie director Peter Jackson. The engine provider acquired the teams that handled Weta Digital's tools, pipeline, technology and engineering in 2021 via a deal worth $1.63 billion. Unity also said it will shut down offices in 14 locations around the world, including Berlin and Singapore, as well as significantly reducing the footprint of the remaining branches, including Bellevue, Washington and its San Francisco headquarters. Closures will be confirmed after employee consultation in some countries. This reduction will include removing the mandate that employees work from offices 3 days per week. Unity referred to these announcements as part of a reset for the company, with interim CEO Jim Whitehurst telling Reuters, "While no additions have been finalized, it's clear that we will reduce the number of things we are doing overall." Whitehurst took over following the departure of long-serving CEO John Riccitiello, who left in the wake of the runtime fee debacle. This is the third round of mass layoffs at Unity this year, with the company announcing it would let go of nearly 300 employees in January and 600 more in May. This brings the total layoffs from Unity in 2023 to over 1,100. The company previously warned there would be more redundancies in its latest financial results earlier this month. Unity said its current headcount stands at around 7,000. Marvel Snap publisher Neverse, a branch of TikTok parent company ByteDance, will be moved away from video games after a restructuring scheduled to take place in the coming months. Developed by Second Dinner, Marvel Snap released in October 2022 and quickly become a top-ranking free-to-play card battler set in the popular comic universe. TikTok's parent company established Neverse as its game publishing arm in 2019 and has also acquired a number of developers in the time since. In what is still considered one of the most expensive video game acquisitions at $4 billion, ByteDance took ownership of Moonton, the studio behind the Mobile Legends franchise, in 2021. But in mid-November 2023, rumors began making the rounds that the conglomerate was looking for options to sell off the developer. Now, after 2 rounds of layoffs at ByteDance in 2022, the company has confirmed to Reuters that it will be restructuring its gaming arm, Neverse, and pulling out of video games. The spokesperson didn't go into further details but explained the decision by stating that ByteDance regularly review our businesses and make adjustments to center on long-term strategic growth areas. Following a recent review, we've made the difficult decision to restructure our gaming business. The reason for this course correction is reportedly the lack of commercial success of the games published by Neverse, including Marvel Snap. Anonymous sources at ByteDance also told Reuters that the company has no plans to return to the video game space, and employees will be told to cease all work on any unreleased projects on Monday, November 27th. The restructuring at Neverse will also possibly lead to more layoffs or transfers to other areas within the company. As for Marvel Snap and other games in Neverse portfolio that have already been released, such as One Piece, The Voyage and Ragnarok X Next Generation, ByteDance will apparently begin looking for ways to divest itself of those properties. Additionally, development studios like Moonton will be sold off, and the virtual reality company Pico has already experienced a downsizing of its team. However, the sources clarified that casual games available on TikTok and titles developed by Oheu, whose work is released on Chinese sister app Douyin, will not be affected by the restructuring. They added that development of unreleased games will reportedly be halted by December. The team behind Marvel Snap has confirmed that the game will continue its operations even as its publisher, Neverse, moves away from gaming. Marvel Snap is one of the best deck builder games to be released recently, and its fan base was quite worried about the news that broke out earlier that its current publisher was leaving the gaming industry. Now, in the wake of this news, the developers at Second Dinner rushed to reassure fans that Marvel Snap is not ending anytime soon. They acknowledged that many players are concerned about the future, and promised that regardless of the changes happening at Neverse right now, the deck builder title will continue to operate and bring new content for gamers. At the moment, however, it is not yet clear what will happen. Last year, ByteDance laid off hundreds of employees, which was the first hint at financial troubles in the company. Now, ByteDance is reportedly trying to sell its released games to other companies, according to Reuters, but there is no known buyer for Marvel Snap yet. However, Marvel Snap has some elements that may make it likely that a publisher will be interested in acquiring the free-to-play deck builder game. For instance, the game's developer, Second Dinner, is an independent studio that will continue to create content even without Neverse. Other aspects to be considered are that Marvel is a very strong brand and that the game is profitable. Fortunately, the next season of updates for Marvel Snap does not seem to be affected at the time of this report. Marvel Snap is considered one of the best games set in the Marvel universe, sitting comfortably beside releases like Marvel Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy and Marvel Ultimate Alliance. The game received overall positive reception on launch and has already made its way into esports tournaments. Its success hopefully means that developer Second Dinner will face no issues finding another publisher for the collectible card game.